Hey everybody, this is Lewis Speaks 2020, and I want to talk to you today about friendship and also expecting too much from the people that you call friend. You know, this morning I woke up feeling slightly depressed, thinking about my relationships, my friendships, and thinking about how I feel that people do not value me. I feel oftentimes that they take me for granted. And this caused me to spiral down into all these thoughts about how my friends are not there for me when I need them. And it caused me to be very depressed. I was self-pitying. And after careful reflection, after careful thought, I definitely had to sit for a moment and meditate and try to examine my role. And I realized that I do expect too much from people. I can at times be very hard on people. I realize that people are just human and that they can sometimes meet your needs, but other times they are not able to meet your needs. I realize that a lot of times you share certain commonalities of experience with the people that you call friend. And oftentimes your friends, they are trying to run away from their reality. They're trying to get away from their reality. Sometimes they have so many obligations pulling at them, tugging at them, wanting from them, needing from them. And so sometimes it could be a bit much for them. And so they look for escapes, and they look for low maintenance friends that don't require as much as you might. I know personally, sometimes I do require a lot. I'm a deep person, I'm a deep thinker. And so as a deep thinker, it can cause you to be very intense. And sometimes your intensity could be off-putting for some people. And that's the revelation that I've had. But the major revelation that I had this morning is that the same commonalities of experience that you share with your friends are also the same commonalities that can be a deterrent, and that can also cause you to bump heads with your friends. And I realized that a lot of my friends, like I mentioned before, we share a lot of the same experiences. And sometimes they just want to get away from reality. They don't always want to feel obligated for somebody else's feelings, and obligated because it's just yet another obligation that they have to shoulder. And it becomes burdensome. And over time, this is why people tend to avoid you, because they start to see you as yet another obligation, another bill to pay, another emotional obligation that they have to cater to and invest in and attend to. And sometimes they just don't have the energy. And it's not that they don't like you. It's not that they don't love you. It's just that a lot of times people are just so overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed. They are extremely overwhelmed with so much on their plate these days, and they're looking for escapes. And if your friendship is not an escape, then you're going to find yourself being the object of their either resentment, or they'll just distance themselves, and they'll look for those low maintenance friends, the friends where they always have a good time, they always have fun, it's lighthearted, none of this deep, intense, kind of, existential conversations and all that. No. While sometimes we do have the craving for those deep conversations, other times we just want a low-key, low vibrational, encounter. We don't want to have to deal with someone else's emotional junk, their abandonment issues, their trust issues, their this issues. We can barely deal with our own. And so this is why you find that sometimes your friends kind of distance themselves, and it's more of an act of self-preservation than it is an act of deception or an act of malicious intent. It's nothing malicious behind it. And that's what I had to come to terms with, because I was the type of person that, well, if I'm not valued, if I'm not this, well, then I'm going to disappear. Forget, No. You have to come to terms with the reality that, for one, you might expect too much from people. You might expect too much from a friendship. You might not be doing enough of your own shadow work, enough of your own internal work. And that's what I realized also. I realized that it was time for me to center myself and go back home to me. Come back to this tabernacle of me, because I realize that so many times that I'm going outside of my neighborhood, and once upon a time I used to think that sacrificing yourself was okay. You know, setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm. I used to think that that was noble, being a martyr. It's not. It just leaves you bitter, resentful, angry, and expecting too much from people, expecting them to return the same gestures and do to you what you have done for them. And it just creates this feeling of debt, you know, this emotional debt. And so you don't want to carry that debt. You know, you don't also want to charge other people with that debt. So in order to not do that, you have to start taking more responsibility for your needs and really just check in with yourself. Check in with you. Take care of home. Take care of home. And that's what I've learned. You know, stop expecting so much from your friends. Stop expecting so much from family. And start taking care of home, which is you, your heart, your needs, what you value. And while initially that may be a very lonely, excruciatingly sometimes lonely process, you'll start to realize as you continue to practice that and make a habit of it, you start to realize that you're a pretty good person. And you also start to realize that all you need is yourself, you know? And you don't get as angry or as flustered or as mad anymore about the slights or the negligence of other people because you're so busy taking care of home. You don't have time. You don't have time. So I encourage everybody to start taking care of home, to not expect so much from other people, and to give yourself the same amount of love and compassion and energy as you give to everybody else. You deserve your own love. You deserve the love that you give to everybody else. Why aren't you loving yourself? Why aren't you loving yourself? And that's the question that everybody has to ask themselves. Why aren't you loving yourself as much as you're loving everybody else? Only you can answer that. So once again, this is Soulful Sundays, you know, Soul Food Sundays, you know, and I encourage you to sit with that, digest it, meditate on it, and come to terms with your truth and what you need, you know, so that way you can stop charging everybody else with the responsibility of doing for you what you should be doing for yourself. So with that being said, this is Lewis Speaks. I wish everybody a wonderful Sunday. You know, definitely do something for you today. For me, I definitely cleaned my house, my entire house. I mopped. I definitely made sure that I'm taking care of my beautiful home, my sanctuary, both inside and out. So I thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Take care.